Blindfolded, Stevie Wonder bet Michael Jackson $15,000 that he could outplay him on any instrument. The studio fell silent as two of music's greatest geniuses faced off in what would become the most incredible musical duel ever recorded. It was October 1982 at Motown's Hitsville studio in Detroit. And what happened in the next hour would prove that true musical talent transcends every limitation imaginable. But what these two legends created that night would remain locked away for decades, too powerful to release. It started during a late-night session for Michael's Thriller album. Quincy Jones had invited Stevie Wonder to contribute to the project, and the three musical titans found themselves alone in Studio A at 2 a.m., surrounded by synthesizers, drums, and the creative energy that only happens when legends collaborate. "You know what your problem is, Michael?" Stevie said, his fingers dancing across a keyboard without looking. "You rely too much on what you see. All that choreography, all those visual effects, they're crutches." Michael, who'd been working on perfecting a dance move, stopped mid-spin. "Crutches? My performances are complete art forms. Music is just one element." Stevie laughed, that distinctive chuckle that had charmed audiences for decades. "Music should be everything. When you strip away the lights, the costumes, the moves, can your music still make people feel something?" "Of course it can. Prove it." Quincy Jones looked up from the mixing board, sensing something electric building between his two protégés. "I'll bet you $15,000, Stevie said, his voice carrying the confidence of someone who'd never lost a musical battle. "That I can outplay you on any instrument in this room, and I don't even need my eyes to do it." The challenge hung in the air like lightning waiting to strike. Michael stared at Stevie Wonder, processing what he'd just heard. This wasn't just about music. This was about the very nature of talent itself. "Any instrument?" Michael asked. "Any instrument. Keyboards, drums, bass, guitar. Your choice." "And you're saying you can play it better than me without even seeing it?" Stevie smiled. "Michael, I've been blind since birth. I've never seen any instrument I've ever played. But I've felt every vibration, heard every harmonic, understood every rhythm. That's real music." Quincy tried to mediate. "Guys, maybe we should just focus on the album." "No," Michael interrupted, his competitive fire ignited. "If Stevie thinks he can outplay me, let's find out. You won't believe what happened next." Michael walked to the corner where a vintage drum kit sat. "Drums. If you can play a better drum solo than me on a kit you've never seen, without being able to see the layout, I'll pay you $15,000 and admit you're the better musician." Stevie nodded. "And when I win, you have to promise me something else." "What?" "You have to record one song, just one, with no choreography, no visual effects, no costumes, just you, your voice, and the music. Pure sound, pure emotion." Michael hesitated. His entire career was built on the marriage of music and visual spectacle. "Deal," he said finally. Stevie Wonder stood up and walked directly to the drum kit, his hands extended but not quite touching anything. For 30 seconds, he just stood there, motionless. "What are you doing?" Michael asked. "Listening," Stevie said quietly. "Every room has its own sound. Every drum kit has its own voice. I'm learning to speak this one's language." Then Stevie's hands moved, not to the drums yet, but through the air around them, mapping distances, understanding the spatial relationship between each piece. "Standard 5-piece kit," he said. Kick drum, snare, 3 toms, hi-hat, crash cymbal, ride cymbal. But there's something else. His hands found a cowbell attached to the rack. Ah, you've got some extras here. Michael watched in amazement as Stevie constructed a mental map of the entire kit without touching a single drum. Wait, don't miss this crucial moment. Quincy, roll tape, Stevie said. I want this documented. He sat behind the kit, adjusted the throne by feel, and positioned his hands over the sticks. Then he began to play. What came out was impossible. Stevie Wonder, who had never seen this drum kit, who had never played drums professionally, created a rhythm that was both complex and soulful, technical and emotional. His left hand found the snare with precision timing, while his right hand danced between cymbals. His feet worked the kick drum and hi-hat with the skill of a session drummer who had been playing for decades. But this wasn't just drumming. It was music. Stevie was composing in real time, creating melodies with percussion, telling stories with rhythm. The solo lasted 3 minutes and left everyone in the studio speechless. When he finished, Stevie set down the sticks and turned toward where Michael was standing. Your turn. Michael sat behind the kit, his heart pounding. He was more than just a good drummer. He'd been playing since childhood, had recorded with session legends, understood rhythm in his bones. Michael unleashed everything he had. His solo was powerful, dynamic, showcasing years of training and natural talent. He played with passion and precision, demonstrating why he was considered one of music's most complete artists. When Michael finished, the room acknowledged his skill. But after what Stevie had just demonstrated, playing by pure intuition and feel, Michael's technical excellence seemed to represent a different kind of musicianship. This is where everything gets incredible. How? Michael asked quietly. How did you do that? Stevie smiled. You played what you thought drumming should sound like. I played what the drums wanted to say. I don't understand. Michael, when you can't see, you learn to listen with your whole body. I felt the resonance of each drum in my chest. I heard the way the cymbals sang in harmony with the room's acoustics. I let the instrument teach me instead of trying to control it. Michael was stunned. You've never played drums seriously? Not until tonight, but music is music. Whether it comes from keys or strings or drum heads, the principles are the same. Quincy Jones, who'd been recording everything, played back Stevie's performance. Even on playback, it was mesmerizing. Stevie, Quincy said, that's some of the most musical drumming I've ever heard. You're not going to believe what happened next. Michael reached for his wallet, ready to pay the bet, but Stevie held up his hand. Keep your money, Michael. I don't want it. But you won. Fair and square. The money was never the point. The promise was one song, just music and voice. Michael nodded reluctantly. What did you have in mind? Stevie walked to the piano. There's a song I've been working on. I've never recorded it because it needs something I can't provide. What's that? Your voice. Stevie began playing a melody that was hauntingly beautiful. Simple, but profound. The kind of song that reaches directly into your soul. It's called Human Nature, Stevie said. But I need someone who can sing about the complexity of being human. Someone who understands both vulnerability and strength. This moment changed everything. For the next 3 hours, Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder worked together on Human Nature. No choreographer, No visual concepts, no production meetings. Just two musicians exploring what the song wanted to become. Michael's voice found new depths as he sang Stevie's melody. Without the safety net of visual performance, he had to connect with the lyrics on a purely emotional level. Why? Tell him that it's human nature, Michael sang, and suddenly the words weren't just lyrics. They were a confession, a question, a prayer. Stevie accompanied on piano, but his playing was different too. Instead of the complex arrangements he was known for, he kept it simple, supporting Michael's voice rather than competing with it. The recording that resulted was magic. When they finished, both men sat in silence for a long moment. "That," Quincy said finally, "is why you're both legends." Human Nature became one of Michael Jackson's most beloved songs. It made it onto the Thriller album and became a top 10 hit. But very few people knew the real story behind it. The original recording from that night, the raw, stripped-down version created during the bet, was never released. Michael felt it was too personal, too vulnerable. "Some things are too real for the world," he told Stevie. Stevie agreed. That recording captured something that can't be manufactured or reproduced. It belongs to that moment. The master tape was locked in Motown's vaults, with instructions from both artists. Not for public release. Years later, when music students asked Stevie Wonder about his greatest collaboration, he would smile and say, "The best music happens when you stop trying to prove something and start trying to feel something." Michael Jackson, in interviews, would reference that night. "Stevie taught me that limitations exist only in our minds. True artists find ways to transcend every barrier." The bet money? Michael donated it to a music school for visually impaired children. "Some lessons are worth more than money," he said. After both artists passed away, music historians discovered something remarkable in their personal archives. Both had kept detailed notes from that session. Michael's focused on the emotional breakthrough he'd experienced. Stevie's focused on the technical aspects of playing drums by feel. Together, they formed a complete picture of what happened when two different kinds of genius collided. That night in Hitsville's studio proved something profound. The greatest music comes not from what we can see or control, but from what we can feel and trust. Stevie Wonder didn't just win a bet that night. He taught Michael Jackson that true artistry transcends every limitation. Michael learned that his greatest strength wasn't his dancing or his visual spectacle. It was his ability to make people feel human emotions through pure sound. Stevie proved that musical genius finds a way to express itself through any medium, any instrument, any limitation. The recording of that original Human Nature session remains in Motown's vault. Some say it will never be released. Others believe that someday the world will be ready to hear what pure, unguarded artistry sounds like. If you had to prove your talent without using your greatest strength, what would you discover about yourself?